Wars Unlimited enthusiasts, welcome to another video where I got another Star Wars Dad original deck, Cad Ash Blue. For some reason, I put Law up there. Cad Bane is not a Law leader. He is an Ashes of the Empire leader, or Ash leader for short. Well, for the past 3 decks looking at cards post, of course, the Ashes of the Empire, we've looked at Star Wars Dad's deck. Originally, I thought, hey, maybe we should go look at an older leader updated with some of those new cards like Qui-Gon Jinn or Han JTL or Luke JTL or even Poe JTL or 𝐒𝐓𝐃𝐿 Force Yellow. But then I kind of stumbled on this Cad Bane, and after getting whooped on with our Ezra Yellow against a version of Cad Ash Data Vault, I decided, let's just check out Cad Ash and see how well we can run with him, especially outside of where we played someone playing in Data Vault, this time playing in blue. And again, I don't know what the best option really is for consideration for, is green better or over blue? Again, that will just be considered, we'll figure that out as, of course, the Ash format evolves throughout the time period. Again, we will get a very good feeling of what the Ash format is going to be with the Galactic Championship results. But again, that is going to be one major tournament that isn't really going to give us like maybe the overall catalyst of where Ash might go. Eventually things will change and Ash decks will get better or worse depending on how people evolve around the meta, especially depending on when Icons comes out, because if Icons comes out before Homeworlds, that will change the meta again. It will add more cards and add reprinted cards back into the meta itself, so that will happen before, of course, we get the 9th set of Star Wars Unlimited Homeworlds, which will be the last set before we rotate out the A section, which is Jump to Lightspeed, Legends of the Force, and Secrets of Power. So with that said, let's check out the leader of the deck and jump to Carabas for that all-important 2 out of 3. Cad Bane states on his front side action, tap and deal 1 damage to the unit, 2 or more remaining HP. Flip on 6 with 4/7, and on attack do the exact same thing if you can deal 1 damage to a unit that has 2 or more remaining HP. Originally, when I read this, I wasn't really sold on this Cad Bane being any good at all. He kind of feels like slightly worse than his counterpart from Shadows of the Galaxy, where Shadows of the Galaxy was about playing an Underworld card, and you could tap it, then your opponent chooses a unit, and you could deal, that opponent would deal 8 damage to it. And then on his backside, when he flipped, whenever you played an Underworld once per turn, your opponent had to do 2 damage to a unit. So there is that caveat there, where now he just kind of does 1 ping damage, maybe 1 to 2 ping damage. He can eventually just ping stuff down until they're at that 2 HP or less mark. So basically, most things that have 2 HP can get put down to 1 HP. Most things that have 3 HP, you can put it down to 1 HP. Because again, once it goes below the 2 mark, it basically is nullified. His ability doesn't work. So I didn't really think there'd be like this caveat to really play him. I didn't really think he'd be any good. But after seeing the Data Vault version of him, where he's just basically hard, like ping control with damage chipping, with units that can chip damage all over the place utilizing his effect, I kind of get now what he kind of wants to do and all of that. So he's basically just a deck strategy of that you're going to ping your opponent for damage and then play things to continually ping opponent's cards off with damage and all of that. So for the rest of the deck, we have double Outer Rim Constables, mainly because upgrades are still being running prevalent. Do remember that blue villainy is still right now rampant in the format, so there is still Condemn that is out there, so we do not want that out there, as well as JTL leaders are still going to be viable in this upcoming meta. I think maybe Boba Fett and Luke are the only 2. I can see some smatterings of Poes, some smatterings of Hans and stuff like that. So the JTL leaders besides Luke Skywalker, we can knock off their fighters just so we can keep that safe. I guess I could see the Vader from JTL also getting back into the format because he did get some really, really good support for what he really wants to do in Ashes of the Empire. Triple Zero on attack disclose red, red, and black, and if you do choose a unit, deal 2 damage to the unit unless control discards a card from your hand. Again, really good to combo with the Cat Bane to ping something and then go zero attack to then choose that unit to potentially kill it off unless our opponent discards a card out of their hand, which allows us to keep hand control going very hard against them. Triple Warrior Clan Ordo on attack may disclose a red card. If you don't, you do 2 damage to your base, but we're always going to want to have a red card in hand to disclose for that. Double Death Trooper, when played, deal 2 damage to a friendly ground unit and 2 damage to an enemy ground unit. Basically, you can deal 2 damage to itself and then 2 damage to one of your opponent's ground units as well. Good to combo, of course, with the Cat Bane. Triple Mark with Sentinel, and then when this unit is upgraded, he loses Sentinel and gains Saboteur. I believe we don't really run any upgrades in here that we're going to use onto him, so he's always going to have be a 2/6 Sentinel. Triple Hana with Raid 2 and Restore 2. Triple Imperial Commando with Sentinel and Shielded. Double Anakin Skywalker, where we're not going to care about the heroic tag, we're just going to care about when played. If you have villainy card discard, give unit -3 for the phase. Triple the Cyborg Mech with Grit, and then when played, either do 2 damage to undamaged ground unit or 5 damage to a damaged ground unit. This is very good to combo with the Cad Bane, using the Cad Bane's effect and then playing this out and then melee murking, doing 5 damage to whatever you damaged with Cad Bane's effect. That is really, really nice. Triple the Ninth Sister with Overwhelm, and then played, an opponent discards a card from their hand. You may deal damage equal to its cost divided as you choose among any number of units. Just a very strong legendary that I do expect to see a good amount of play in this upcoming format. And finally, Triple Pre-Vizsla. When played, defeat any number of non-leader units with a total cost of 6 or less remaining HP. Create a Mandalorian token for each unit. Feed this way. Again, when I first read this, I wasn't too sold on it, but I could definitely see why you want to play it in this version of Cad Ash, because you definitely could get off his effect a little better than when you would play it outside of some other blue villainy style decks. But not a bad card. I'm not completely sold to this being a good legendary overall, but I could definitely see having some good playability here. Personally, I don't think I'd play it at 3. I'd probably drop it down to 2 of, because otherwise I don't know how often you're really going to be able to get his when played effect to go off at a good pace where it has good destruction. So I could definitely see this being put down to like a 2 of at most. We have Double Batter Hullcraft to when played, deal 1 damage to the unit and 1 damage to any space unit. Double Onyx Squadron Brute, when defeated, heal 2 damage to your base. Triple TIE Dagger Vanguard, when the play, deal 2 damage to an enemy damaged unit. Double IG 2000 of Overwhelm, and when played, deal 1 damage each up to each 3 units. And then Triple Chimera. When played, you may choose a friendly unit and an enemy non-leader unit if you do defeat those units. And when an enemy unit is defeated, heal 2 damage from your base. Again, a very interesting choice here for that type of legendary. There really isn't much we'd want to blow up on our own side of the board state just so we can blow up a non-leader on our opponent's side of the board state. Because you have to target 2 of them, because if you do defeat those units, so I'm not sure if ruling wise, if you can blank out your side of the effect where the only thing you own is a leader and then you play it. The only thing you can target is your leader, so that you blank out that target and you put your opponent's target and then you kill both of those. I would expect that is what will happen and how it's going to get ruled, but still, it could be ruled that you have to have 2 valid targets and then you get to destroy it. So there is that. I don't know if this is really of a good idea to put in here. I could see some instances of using like blowing up the Onyx Squadron Brute so that you can heal the 2 damage and then blowing up one of your opponent's units and all that. But other than that, I'm not too sold on this actually wanting to be in this deck, if I'm a little honest overall. Finally, for events, we have triple collateral damage to deal 2 damage to a unit and then 2 damage to a base or another unit in the same arena. Triple no glory on the results to take control of a non-leader unit defeated. And finally, triple lost to Forgotten to defeat a non-leader unit. If you do, heal 3 damage from our base. For the sideboard, we have double Rancor Keeper. When a friendly unit is dealt damage and survives, deal 1 damage to any number of bases. Use ability once each round. So basically ping something or have us attack something on your opponent's side of the board state, and then you can deal damage to your opponent's base. Double Arvel, just to deal with credit tokens of when played on attack, you may defeat a credit token. If you do, deal 1 damage to a unit or base. So basically run into anything that's credit related, we can deal with that. Double Tree remembers enemy An enemy loses all abilities and it costs 3 or less, we can just defeat it. Double hyperspace disaster. If we run into any heavy space matchups, we can immediately throw this in to deal with those matchups. And finally, 2 single reactor ignition. Defeat all units for each enemy unit defeated. This way, deal 1 damage to his controller's base. So overall, it's not that bad of a deck. I do feel like once Icon comes out, I can definitely see this Cad Bane being played a whole lot better because you'll get open fire back into the format as well, right before, of course, Homeworlds and then rotation happens where you lose 4, 5, and 6. But nonetheless, I do think there could be some more additional plays. I do think we could probably take out some of the a couple legendaries. Like I'm not completely certain on the Chimera and the Pre-Vizsla. Maybe putting in like a Condemn. I think that's a miss there. You could easily put Condemn in this deck as well, or sideboard it. But nonetheless, we're going to have to see how well this deck can do. Let's jump to Carabass for that all-important best 2 out of 3. All right, folks, here we go. We're playing some old Thrawn. So Thrawn from JTL, Splash Red. The good part is this is a deck where we definitely want to be going second. I personally would rather be able to start the game with something. While the collaterals are nice, I would like to be able to start the game, even if we didn't start the game until 3, I would still like to be able to actually start the game. Ooh, the cereal's pretty nice. We'll put away an Anakin and a Chimera, and I know he has stuff that's when defeated. He does do a lot of that, so I think I'm going to put away the Battered Hallcraft as well. Oh my goodness, it's Owen! Everyone's favorite man, Owen. We'll hit Owen in the face for 1 and then we will pass. I think we could put that away. We do have the necessary resources, of course, to go for Cyril. Ooh, that's a pretty interesting one there. Definitely would be a near kill on mine. But hey, look, I'm gonna do the exact same thing as you, sir. We need... Alright, so we can't really do much with Cyril. I really don't want to run Cyril into a Sentinel that would kind of kill him. So honestly, there's no point in doing anything with that. So let's just... So Owen dies, he's just going to use the ability of Owen to reveal that. Well, that's actually a pretty nice thing to actually use that ability. He's going to double tap that, so he is going to find 2 force units. We're going to use the ability to hit it again. Admiral Ozzel, funny enough, is not too bad of a card to play in a Thrawn that double taps its abilities. I'm going to hit him, and then I'm going to showcase. While this has to be my coloration, I think it'd be nice to maybe either get a card out of his hand or deal the extra 2 damage, because if he does decide to attack here, that is a trade. We will decide to target that with the 2 damage. That will kill it off there. We will swing our 2 damage here. We'll put out the Hana. Unfortunately, this is Admiral Ozzel is going to punch into us. That does mean we're going to have to discard 2 here, which isn't really all that fun to deal with. Yep. Admiral Ozzel will force me to discard this, and we'll discard that. We'll have Hana attack there. Again, the Thrawn has finished all its major stuff, so already did all its double tap. Cyril can't really do much here because that would be then a kill on my Cyril. So we can put an Anakin away. Again, we do have Chimera coming up here soon. Alright, so double tapping the Night Sister so that he can gain 2 here. We're going to go for the Anakin to then give that the -3/-3. We can then have that kill off that. Another Sentinel. We can use that to ping the shield off. We can use that to kill that. Cyril can't really do much. We can then deploy 𝐂𝐏. We can attack with 𝐂𝐏. We can then hit that for 1 because of 𝐂𝐏's effect. And then we can pass from there. And we can put this Clan Ordo away. Alright, so he killed my Hana there. We can't use the Chimera right now because otherwise we would actually take a beating from that. Let's have the Anakin, or Anakin kill off Thrawn. He's going to go for Legacy Run. That isn't too bad for us here for the Legacy Run. We can ping a damage on the Legacy Run here. He did claim the initiative. We can hit for that. We can put out that Chimera. We're going to kill our own Cyril and kill that. I will resolve here first. Again, the Legacy Run can do only 6 damage divided, so it can either kill off the Chimera. It can use some of that damage to kill off the Luke or the Anakin there. We will pass. I'm actually fine just skipping resourcing this turn. Yeah, I think we could resource, but I think there's just no purpose to doing it. We'll put out the Trooper. My opponent has claims, so we will pass. We'll put away a Pre-Vizsla. We don't need another one right now in hand. So this Thrawn actually, funny enough, has some really good stuff. So it's playing the splash base. It's only being played in here for the Legacy Run. It's a pretty interesting thing here. We can use that to get the shield off. Then we can go this to immediately kill off both of those. That creates 2 Mandalorian tokens. My opponent gets... both mine come in shielded. My opponent can, of course, look at the top 10. Ooh, the 9th sister. And then double tapping the effect, and that will be a whiff there. And then a pass, and then I will skip resourcing. I mean, even if they drop a 9th, well, I mean, that is painful. I'm going to claim the initiative. I really don't have anything to play that it's worth playing. So we're going to skip the resourcing. I'm going to hit that for 1. Let's go for the TIE Dagger. I know that means he gets to heal 4 off his base, but still that's not the worst thing to do. Alright, you can have that. Then I can go no glory on the results to kill off that. And then I can claim the initiative. And I can skip the resourcing. I can play out my 9th sister. Trigger, put all 3 damage on him. 𝐂𝐏, put another damage there. Chimera, that is going to kill us both. Claim the initiative. Chimera is really nice for this leader specifically. Skip resourcing. Let's go for... Yeah, let's go Pre-Vizsla. Let's just nuke that thing, create a Mandalorian token. I mean, he only has 17 cards left to my 23, so I actually have a higher percentage chance of surviving. So Chimera will kill off the Pre-Vizsla. And then the Owen Lars is going to trigger. It's going to get him, of course, this. Skip the resourcing. We can go Merc that to heal off 3. We can put out a Cyril as well, which is pretty nice. We can hit that for 1. We can put out the Cyril. Well, that kind of sucks to see the Pre-Vizsla. We can claim the initiative. Skip resourcing. Let's go for Lost and Forgotten on the Pre-Vizsla. We can then ping a shield off of that. We can claim the initiative. Man, this Thrawn actually is getting his good of resourcing stuff that we are getting in this set as well. So let's go for my blocker. Another Chimera. Alright. Blocker again. Can go collateral damage, 2 damage, 2 damage, ping, shield, pass, because this only has a when play trigger. Skip resourcing. This is going to be painful because now we're taking this, and I think we've got one. We still have 2 no glories. We still got 1 lost and forgotten left. We can go that because again, this is just 5 damage. Oh, to a damaged ground unit, not just anything. But anyways, it doesn't overly matter. My man has all the cards. But yeah, no, this Chimera is definitely amazing for this Thrawn. Personally, I would play yellow for it rather than playing that coloration. We probably put a ping damage there. Let's go 9th Sister. We can trigger 2 damage. We can ping. Again, by the way, that's a when an enemy unit is defeated, heal 2 damage from a base. That is a constant trigger. We can then pass. We can put one of those away. The Chimera is going to kill us. I just don't have a way to kill that Chimera in any capacity. Yeah, no, wow. I didn't think this Thrawn would actually be this good, but holy crap, he actually, in Splash Red, my gosh, he actually has some good stuff this time around. We can hit. I mean, he only got 4 cards left in deck, and he's already burnt the splash effect. I mean, I can't find my Lost and Forgottens for the life of me. We could put out the sister here. He's forced to discard, so mattering on how much he discards, a 4-drop trigger. I mean, there's no way we can, because we'll just, well, I guess no, we have collateral damage. We can actually clean the board up. Condemning that, we can go collateral that to then collateral that. Yeah, heal, a bunch of damage. Pass. Skip. Where the heck has been my last 2 Oh glory only results? We haven't resourced 1 of them. I mean, I know my opponent's got it, but let's just see what they have in their hand. They got a good them. I don't even know, like, what does he have left? Okay, he's got that one. Yeah, it has to be a ground unit. Do I actually have a way to kill this? Because this does 2 damage, that does 4. This does 2 damage to unit, then deal 2 damage. This would be 5. Oh, I do not have enough. He's going to get this match because I can do the tie dagger here, and then I can go freaking collateral, but it won't matter. And then I really can't do anything else, so pass. The fact of the matter is I couldn't, oh, there we finally could figure out a way to get past the Cadet trigger. That would have been nice. All right, game number 2 here. So, let's put it in our double reactor fire. We're going to put in 1 hyperspace disaster. I'm going to drop let's see. We know he has condemn, so we do need to be cautious of that. Let's drop a Chimera down to a 2 of. I'm going to drop this down to a 2 of, and we need to drop 1 more card to match what we had. Where's our Pre-Vizsla guy? Actually, no, Pre-Vizsla is actually really good against space because he just targets anything on the board state. I think we're going to drop... I'm going to drop the Hallcraft down to a 1 of. Alright, we are ready to go. We will start it out. I mean, not the best. We'll keep because I think we can use it. Yeah, we're going to put away the hyperspace disaster. We have better things that actually can deal with the board better than hyperspace. I'm going to put those two away. We're going to put out a Cyril. We will pass. The TIE Dagger, actually, funny enough, is going to be able to come up. We're going to put away this. While the Kadim is nasty that he has that ability to go into it, I don't mind that. We're going to do a dagger to hit that. Cyril can't kill him off, so we're just going to pass. We can put the Chimera away. We unfortunately still don't have enough to do the ability. Alright, we're just gonna pass on that one. Dagger might be nice. We do have no glory on the results now. Let's put away the dagger. Because I have no glory on the results now that I can do with. This is going to attack those. Remember, as a reminder, you do get to choose how you want to attack out the sentinels. So in this case, I can easily send this into this, being able to kill it off. Again, we won't be able to use Cyril's effect. So we can send Cyril there. We can't use his effect to kill it off on the attack. Not that it overly matters. Alright, we can then use this to burn this and then immediately kill that off. That removes also the legacy run from being a nuisance. Again, as a reminder, no glory in results. It defeats it on your side of the board, meaning that you get the when defeated trigger. So that does give us the when defeated trigger. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to pass. The Death Trooper can go away. And it looks like my opponent surrendered that one. They just couldn't do anything. Okay, we're going into game number 3 now. I think we're going to stick what we got. I think it is the best of what we can do. Multiple Cyrils in hand. A good 5 drop, a good 6 and 7. The problem is in game 3, it's always a gamble. Do you take the mulligan? I'm going to keep. I don't think it's the worst thing I can deal with this hand. The Cyril is going to be able to give us, but mindful that we need to see another red card to really use Cyril's effect. But it's not horrible for us to be able to do that. We won't harm the O and Lars. There's not really a reason to use CAD's effect for that. It's pretty nice that we got that. We're going to put the Anakin away. I actually kind of want the Ninth Sister. Oh, of course you got the Admiral Ozzel too. Alright. We're going to do this. We are going to choose to disclose nothing. Yeah, I mean, it restores 2, but nothing we can really do about that. I'm just going to claim the initiative. Nothing I can do about that Admiral Ozzel, unfortunately. I am going to have to be forced to discard here. Yeah, I'm going to have to discard... I'm going to have to discard those 2 just because I think that's just the better play. We can just claim from here. We can put a Pre-Vizsla away. We can knock out... I guess I should have sent Cyril to knock out the shield. I guess it doesn't really matter. This is taking 2 damage either way. Revealing a Ninth Sister. Then revealing again. Cyril to kill. Depending on what he plays, I am capable of going no glory on the result on it. I'm just going to claim. There's not really a purpose to do no glory on the results on that. We can put that away. We can then use that to hit that. We'll just have the serial kill it. We can deploy Bane. My opponent and I can now stare at each other. I will ping him for 1. I can then go this to kill this. I'll get 2 TIE fighters because I'm on left trigger. I will then pass. Let's put away the hyperspace disaster. I actually have some pretty good stuff here for this. Ew, 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 sir. That is disgusting. Oh my gosh, that's actually rancidly disgusting. I'm gonna have to get rid of no glory in the results. That is rancidly disgusting. I don't know if this is going to be able to trigger. So I'm just going to do this to murk that. Alright, claim the initiative. We'll put the tie away. Let's go Marak. Because Thrawn is dead here on that. Well, that was fun. Ping that for 1. Wow, double 9th sister, man. Well, this guy stripped my hand into infinity and beyond. No point in running this just yet. We're going to go pre-Vizsla, kill that, make a Mandalorian token. Now show me your Vizslas. We can ping that for 1 more. Hey, look, it's a Vizsla! Claim. Skip resourcing, blow up board. Raider Aldazi. Restore 1. They wouldn't play name a card while this unit is played. They couldn't play card. What did they name? I guess they're still having to decide. Pre-Vizsla. How nice. I guess we'll play some pre-Vizsla, man. Yeah, I mean, unless he wants a double tap for multiple ones. Nothing else we can really do in that case. Cat can ping another damage there. Pass. Skip resourcing. Alright, so what we've learned so far is that this Thrawn wants to play hard hand control. Because, my gosh. If I've seen hard hand control in my life, I mean, he literally just played straight up hard hand control. I mean, I have what? I have burned through all 3 of my no glory only results. I mean, go up to a sister. I mean, he has so many cards in hand. The Ozzel hurting me, and then the sister hurting me. I mean, there was literally none. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing I really could do. I mean, heck, it's not even worth it, because, like, this automatically puts me to death. There's just nothing I can do. Showcase. I mean, the guy just, takes the initiative. He just wins the game. All right, good game, though. I mean, it went to 3, but, I mean, it all came down to hand control. Well, folks, the Cad Bane lost. So far, I think, right now, our record is 0-3 for every single new deck we checked out in the format. All of them have lost. Unfortunately, StarWarsDad's decks are my record for playing them is apparently horrible, but you know what? It was a really good one. I think what hurt us the most is that Thrawn turned into hard hand control. We got hit with Admiral Ozzel ×2, then we got hit with 9th Sister, and we just didn't have anything little to toss off of it. So, I mean, what else were we going to do about it? So, yeah, I mean, what else are you going to do about that one? When you hit into hand control, you get into hand control. On that, I think this deck isn't too bad. Again, I think StarWarsDad has good legs for what I think can eventually evolve into a good deck. I think there are cards like here. I think that Chimera probably can get dropped completely. I do think Condemn needs to come into this deck. I think Condemn would have been a great thing to have there, especially like game number 1. We could have condemned a unit on his side of the board state and could have pushed maybe to get further into that game state. My opponent in game 1 only had like 4 cards left, so they were near death. Other than that, maybe actually now thinking about it, Pre-Vizsla might actually be something that is good at 3 of in this deck altogether. But yeah, I think one thing is maybe the Chimeras need to be dropped. I don't know. Don't really like them in this deck strategy. I get why they're here, maybe side decking them or changing out a couple of the side deck cards. I think Single Reactor Ignition could probably be pumped up to a 3 for a side deck option and then put in there. And I still think Condemn needs to be put in here 100%. But other than that, folks, it's a good deck. I really like what the bones are that StarWarsDad has made, other than maybe getting Condemn in here and maybe dropping that Chimera. Isn't all that bad of an option. This is a good deck, and I think it does have some good potential. I think this Cad Bane from this set has some very strong potential, as long as apparently he doesn't run into Thrawn JTL, Splash Red, which was only splashing in, I think, probably 3 yellow legacy runs. But still, even that was a good deck. Holy crap, I was not expecting that at all. That Thrawn now has some interesting things they can play with in this format. Again, I think a lot of older leaders got some really good buffs in this set. Are going to make them really potentially very strong coming into this meta. But nonetheless, guys, I want your thoughts down in the comments on the deck, on the gameplay, and while you guys are commenting, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you know if when my videos go live for you. And we'll see you next time. I'm on Dragons TCG.